Hey guys, it's Robert again from Australian Camping and Four Wheel Drives. Just got off the phone. Been on the phone to Adam Shaw. Now Adam's the principal engineer for vehicle standards and vehicle modifications. And I was having a chat with Adam a little bit about the whole thing we've been experiencing, especially here in Queensland, regarding the lift laws. And Adam's the person to go to when it comes to this type of area. This is pretty much what he specialises in, guys. And I was asking Adam a couple of different questions and all that type of stuff, and Adam was kind enough to provide me with some very useful information. I know Buck and myself have been talking a little bit about it, and we were trying to find out where the laws had changed, and we were unable to find any changes in the law. So Buck and I were a bit confused. You know, we had been under the impression that some people had indicated that the laws had changed, and we just have not been able to find that, guys. Now look, I'm not here to argue with anybody. Really, what I want to do is just explain the information that I've been provided. Of course, you know, you're welcome to go and disagree or agree with the information that I'm going to present to you today, but that's entirely up to you. Okay. So I had a chat with Adam, and Adam said that the law has always been a maximum of 50mm suspension lift for electronic stability control vehicles in Queensland. He said this law has not changed. The law has been modified now, and at the present time it's currently waiting approval. It's in the final stages apparently, and this is going to include a 50mm suspension lift and 25mm lift on tyres for vehicles with the electronic stability control. Now guys, look, all I'm talking about here are vehicles with electronic stability control. I'm not really interested in the other ones because I don't own one, but just so you know what I'm talking about here, guys, as well. So he expressed a lot of concern around vehicles safety when going above this. He looks at it more from an engineering perspective. Now obviously, you know, we are four-wheel drivers and we love getting out and about and enjoying the camping and enjoying tracks out there and all that type of stuff, and going where other vehicles can't go. It's the stuff we enjoy, but he looks at it more from an engineering perspective. Now he does do a little bit of four-wheel driving, he said, but you know, he's got to take into consideration other road users as well. And it was something that, you know, which was interesting to me because I hadn't really considered that as much, you know. So he mentioned that the 4x4s, they share the road with other vehicles. And if a vehicle is lifted too much, it can actually pose a risk when it's in an accident with another vehicle, possibly causing harm to other road users. And this is because of the angle of impact changes when a vehicle is lifted beyond this. He also mentioned that the yaw of a vehicle changes, and this can also cause rollovers. Now apparently I'm not an expert on yaw, but I went and looked it up, and yaws when the weight of a vehicle moves around the centre of gravity under acceleration, braking, steering, when you're steering left or right. So that's what yaw is apparently. So there you go, a little bit of a lesson for me there. He said hence vehicles that go beyond 75mm are going to need approval, and to me that's fine. I mean, I don't really mind. 75mm is all I actually wanted, and I think the majority of people out there would be happy with a 75mm lift. We need that lift to be able to do, you know, the basic four-wheel drive tracks and that type of stuff, and without it, you know, it causes us issues. So so that's something that he mentioned to me as well. So I asked about approval centres in Queensland. So we're aware that there's approval centres apparently down there in Melbourne. I think Bosch run, if I remember correctly. And now what he said is, he said that there are a number of companies which are going through the process to be able to approve vehicles which go beyond the 75mm lift with electronic stability controls. And they're also looking at different locations where testing can be done outside that as well. So one thing that I sort of got the impression is that the companies which will offer the electronic stability control packs, it sounds like they're going to offer packs that have already been approved on certain vehicles. So for example, you know, you might want to go to, I don't know, 90mm or something like that with some body blocks in it or something perhaps, they'll offer some type of package that already has that. So I don't know how that stands for vehicles that already are beyond that, or private users. What do you want to do there? I'm really not too sure what's going to happen there at the moment, guys, either. But watch this space. We'll see what we find out as well. I also asked Adam about the paperwork which the Queensland Police have been reportedly using. So you might have seen last time, I'll see if I can pop it up here on the screen for you. We spoke a little bit about the document that the Queensland Police have been using, and on that document it indicated that you could have up to a 75mm lift for vehicles with electronic stability control, and that seemed to contradict what we could see in the Queensland Government's writing, which said you couldn't have a lift beyond 50mm. And he mentioned to me that the document was not correct. It should have been 50mm, and the police are no longer using that document. He said to me that apparently what the police are doing now is they're not, this is what I've been told, they're not pulling over vehicles that are 75mm or below, is my understanding. That doesn't mean they won't pull you over and check. It just means that they're not writing tickets for vehicles that are 75mm and below, apparently. So what else did we ask him about? So Adam said that whilst the police have been indeed using this document, they are no longer using it, and I was provided indication that the police are not currently writing tickets for vehicles under 75mm, which is 50mm suspension, 25mm tyres, but are still targeting those vehicles which are beyond those bounds. Okay. I also asked Adam a little bit about what I've been seeing with regards to four-wheel drive Queensland, where they are after any combination of lift and tyres up to 75mm. That's my understanding of it. I haven't gone into it that much. My understanding is four-wheel drive Queensland are trying to get it so that if, say for example, I wanted instead of 25mm on my tyres, I wanted 30mm on my tyres, so then I could have the exact difference with, let's say, 45mm on my suspension. So some combination there in between, and so what did he say about that? He said this is currently being looked into further, so he didn't really give me a solid answer on that one, guys. I'm just aware that they're currently looking into that, and I think the goal at this present time is to just get Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria all on the same lines, so they're all in the same boats. I did ask him about the other states and that, and they're different. All the other states are actually different, apparently. What else have we got here? I mentioned a situation I found myself in the other day when I went into Bob Jane at Capella Bar, and I had a new tyre to my vehicle, and then the following day, this is the very next day almost, guys, this police crackdown came out. And so I'm now aware that the Bob Jane stores were not all aware of the 50mm maximum lift on vehicles with electronic stability control. Vehicles what else did he say here? He said, and apparently what they did is they sent out an advisory to all the stores after becoming aware of these new laws as well. Well, not new laws, of being made aware of what the laws actually were. Which was interesting to hear as well. Now look, my experience with Bob Jane at Capella Bar, they were great. They were really good guys to go to. They were very helpful. Obviously we had this issue here where they weren't aware of what the current laws were, and to be quite honest, I don't think most people were. So maybe an argument could be had that they're a tyre company and they should, but look, to be quite honest, Bob Jane, I think they did the right thing. I'm pretty sure that if I went in and I said, look, this isn't going to work out because of what the laws are, I'm pretty sure they probably would have given me a refund, but I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to keep the tyres because I figured that in the end this is all going to come out in the wash, and by the looks of it, it is going to come out in the wash as well. So I've kept my tyres there. I've been using my standard tyres in the meantime, and I'll be switching them back over once this new law comes out as well, guys. So Adam listened to all my questions. He assisted greatly. He was really good help, guys. If you've got any questions, now that's the other thing I was thinking about. Look, if you've got some questions that you might like answered perhaps, how about you write them down in the comments down below. Now look, you just got to keep in mind, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. I'm just going here on what I heard and trying to repeat what I heard. Sometimes I make mistakes, and so if you've got any questions and that sort of stuff, whack them down in the comments, and then what I can do is I'd probably organise a time just to have another chat with Adam and just ask him some of those questions that you guys have as well, and that should give you, some information on what you want to know as well. So guys, I hope that's been a help to you. If you've got questions, pop them down in the comments and we'll get on to them. All right guys, appreciate that. Thanks for that.